On this adventure, we had an overnight stop in Holbrook, Arizona on our way to Durango, Colorado. I am sure the complete rainbow in the morning and the hint of a double rainbow was a sign that we were going to have a wonderful adventure. In Durango, we stayed in the historic 1887 Strater Hotel.
First name, Norman?
Yes.
All right, looks like we're ready for you, sir. It's the ID and credit card. Thank you so much.
There you are.
Came off the lift. Room
201. That works. Gotta kick it open.
It's an old hotel.
It's a nice room.
Looks like the train track is right out our window here. Our visit to Durango is not complete without a lunch or dinner at the Himalayan Kitchen.
The chicken's fine.
Chicken curry, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, me too. Well, the lunch special.
And I want the lunch special, which chicken. Can I get a little cup or bowl of the dal soup?
Yes.
A visit to To'atan Gallery is also a must for us. Here we purchased 3 Navajo sand-painted ornaments by Bingo Smith, who lost 5 children to COVID and is now left raising his grandchildren. We also purchased a 15.5-inch round rare hand-woven piece by Marie Deer. Most weavings are square or rectangular, not round. The sweet tooth hit, and we made a quick stop at Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory.
Hey, you guys have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Our excitement grew as we saw the train depot and watched all the hustle and bustle of switching trains around, as well as getting the train ready to head to the end of the line, Silverton.
Perfect. You guys are here tomorrow. Plan to be here about 8:30 to get on your train.
All aboard! Come join us as we made a big step back in time. This train has been in continuous operation running excursions since 1882. For us, this step began with the sound of the train exiting Durango, further making our excitement grow as we thought about the things we would see along the way up through the San Juan National Forest.
One car in front of us here will be opening up approximately a half an hour after departure, and once the conductor has come through and collected all the tickets. Ask that you keep all hands, arms, cameras, and cell phones inside the train at all times. There are a lot of close clearances along our route today, as close to 8 inches between the train and rocks, trees, and bushes.
echoing of the steam whistle in the canyon was exciting. We also enjoyed the iconic horseshoe curve in High Bridge.
What you call blowing off steam.
All too soon, we were at the end of the line. The train literally parked right at the end of the line in town. On our first full day in Silverton, we rented a Can-Am for a full day.
It is a Can-Am.
We first went up to 12,566 foot Stony Pass, which is part of the Continental Divide. the way back down from the pass, we stopped at the Old 100 gold mine for a tour. The tour took us 1/3 of a mile into the heart of 13,000-foot Galena Mountain.
Are we going to get a lot of gold?
There is some gold in there. Silver.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion you're not going to end up wealthy on this one, dear.
You don't think so?
Pick up big guy.
Thank you.
At the very top of this mountain at 13,200 feet. In 1880s, they sent people up there and they're looking for an outcropping of quartz crystals. All the gold, silver, lead, zinc, and copper run in the quartz vein. So they actually found that outcropping, took it down to Silverton, did an assay. That assay is going to tell them how many ounces per ton that was in that vein. So that panned out for them. So in 1904, they dropped down 1,000 feet and built a 2-story boarding house up there. So at the end of the tour, if you get ready your jackets and hard hats, go on the other side of that steel building. There's a power pole with an arrow. Stand next to that, look up there, and you'll see what they built in 1904. It's still standing. It looks about that far down from skyline. All right. The way that they got up there is when you came from Silverton, from asphalt to gravel, did you look up and see those buckets hanging by those cables? That's an aerial tram line. Thanks to mining, that's why you have ski resorts. That's the very first ski lift. So they actually had that tram line. It started down here on the lower road and went all the way up there. All right? So there's 7 levels of this mine. We're going to go into the number 1. If you look right up there, there's a wooden structure. That's the number 2 level. So above the number 2 level, there's 5 levels above it. The 7th level is actually at the boarding house. All 7 levels are connected internally through a series of raises, and we'll talk about a raise when we get underground. So we're going to go about 1/4 of a mile in here. As we go in, we're actually going to go through some water. It's going to be harmless water. It's actually just runoff water and a little bit of groundwater. There's no acid in it, don't worry. But again, if you swallow some, it's like eating the ice in Mexico. About 3 or 4 days, you should be all right. Can't guarantee it. I'm joking. It's harmless. Stuff in here I've actually mined with, except the stuff in the 1800s. That's why we brought this young gentleman right here. We're just going to go ahead and ask him questions. Again, there's nobody safe on the tour. Everybody's going to have fun. All right? So I've only had about 6 shots of tequila and 2 beers. I haven't missed yet. All right, folks, this is double jack drilling. Here we go. So we're going to be sitting there drilling that hole. If I actually glance off that drill steel and smack her in the wrist, well, guess what? She's got a really sore wrist. She's gonna Will Smith me, yeah. She's got a really sore wrist, right? Well, the other problem is I can't swing this for 8 to 10 hours a day, so we swap. She becomes the hammer person, and I become the shaker person. I'm gonna grab that drill steel, and I'm really hoping she's not fighting with her friend right there, because the first thing that's gonna happen is she's gonna smack me back, because we've gotta have a level playing field, right? We can't hold a grudge all day long. So now we have sore wrists, and we're going back to drilling. All right, here we go. And young man, what's his name?
Vincent.
Vincent, you gonna come and drill a hole with me? You can bring your dad up and drill a hole with me, okay? I don't think you'd have done that one. All right, Vincent, what I want you to do is grab this handle and start spinning it. Okay, so you're gonna have to plug
Some mirrors here.
Yeah, you're gonna go deaf. I'll help you out with this one. Okay. All right, ready, buddy?
All right, can you turn it?
Okay, on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. We still use bell signals to this day. Obviously, we have better bells and a lot better electronics. So we're all sitting here. There's a hoistman back there with the hoist. He's waiting for a series of bells. So we're going to give him 3 bells. 3 bells is going to tell him that people want to get on the cage. He'll actually ring back 3 bells to verify what we want. As soon as he does that, we'll get in the cage, and then we're going to give him a 3-1. A 3-1 is telling him that people are on the cage going up. He's going to ring back a 3-1 to verify. As soon as he does that, we're going up 600 feet to the second level to go to work. All right? The other thing is, you're going to think I'm crazy. I am crazy. I spent half my life underground. But this is actually the safest place you'll ever be in your life. She's looking at me like, yeah, you're from Colorado, you smoke a little bit. I do not do that either. It's called ATF. But, so folks, why I say that is you got 3,000 feet of some of the hardest rock in North America above you, Gunnison blue granite. You got natural ventilation 12 months out of the year. And if you notice, there's no ground support, no steel beams or timber holding this rock up. This is type A rock, so they didn't need that. This is the only mine you'll ever be in your life that doesn't have ground support in it. All right? And the other reason I say this is the safest place you'll ever be, we all know what happened in Florida about 3 years ago with that condo building. That was engineered and designed by people, right? However you believe, this has been here for millions of years. We didn't engineer it, we didn't design it. That's why I say this will be the safest place you've ever been in your life. We've been talking since the beginning of the tour about 8 feet by 8 feet, 6 feet deep, 32, 40 holes. This is actually that round right here. So when you blast that out with 500 pounds of explosives, you got 22 tons of broken rock, 22 tons of muck. You notice right here, this is what those Polish tin miners had to come over to teach us how to do. You see how this has a dead hole, or this hole has no dynamite in it? That's called a dead hole or reliever. So if you don't have that dead hole or reliever, you actually got 500 pounds of explosives in there, you light it off, what's gonna happen is it's gonna give it a shock and it's gonna freeze it. It has nowhere to break to. You have to actually give this rock somewhere to break to. So the dead hole and the 4 holes around it, that's called a 5-hole burn. You light this one, then these two, and you actually went from an 1.5-inch hole to a hole the size of your 5-hole burn. Right above it, you actually got a box. You got 2 holes straight above it, 2 holes below it. That's your box, and you got a diamond. You got this one, this one, this one, and this one. Then it goes to a bigger box and a bigger diamond. Back here, these are your back holes. Those are the second to last to go off. What's going to happen is those are going to collapse straight down, and now you have 22 tons of muck here. The bottom holes are called lifters. There's 7 of them. They're actually going to go off at the very last. They're going to pick up that muck pile, that 22 tons of muck, pick it up, throw it out into your drift, and we call it fluffing your muck pile. Nobody? Yeah. I was like, really? So folks, that goes back to that time is money. So if that material's out there nice and loose, I can come in and muck it out really fast. If these holes don't go off, I got 22 tons of set up concrete. That means I got to spend 5 or 6 times longer to actually muck that out. And then I got to find those bottom holes, reload them because I need that 8 feet tall. All right? The loading process is you grab a stick of dynamite with a non-nail blasting cap. You shove that non-nail blasting cap into your dynamite, turn it upside down like this. You get a wooden loading pole called a tamping stick because it's non-sparking, it's wood. You put that dynamite in there, you shove it all the way to the back of the hole, tamp it in there, and you're going to load all 6 feet of that hole of dynamite from the back of the hole to the collar hole, and that's where you get that 500 pounds of explosives. You're going to load all 40 holes the same way. So it's 1 stick, tamp it in, 2 more sticks, and you're going to do that until it's all loaded. That's the loading process. The timing process is when this non-nail blasting cap was brand new, it had a number and a clip. That number is actually milliseconds. Inside here, there's actually a flash powder that burns in milliseconds. So you come over here, you put a 0, a 1, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 4 5s in your box, and you're actually going to delay it out to make that bigger hole. So all you're actually doing is slab into the center. So you go from an 1.5-inch hole to your 5-hole burn to your box, your diamond, your box, your diamond. All you're doing is slab into the center to create that hole to actually advance your 6 feet. All right? So that's how you load it. That's how you time it. Then you'd put 32s or 36s or 37s in your back holes, and down here all 7 lifters will be number 40s. That's how you load it. That's how you time it. The way you blast it, the clip I mentioned, you run a piece of det cord across here. You're going to clip all 40 non-nails into that det cord, tie it into an electric blasting cap, tie that blasting cap into a power source, go around the corner by the train, get a battery, charge it up, send a current of electricity down there. That sets off that electric blasting cap. That blasting cap sets off that det cord. That det cord will set off all 40 non-nails at the same time, and then it goes into that milliseconds to delay it out to whatever pattern you want. All right? So that's how you load it, timed it, you blasted it. Any questions so far?
I'm glad you know what you're doing.
So all that broken rock on the top levels would actually use gravity. You just dump it down the ore pass. It'd go from level to level all the way down into the ore chutes. We actually came in on what we call a man trip. Usually there's 10-ton to 20-ton gravity ore cars. They'd go underneath there, center it. The hydraulic ram would open that chute up. That would actually rush out, fill those ore cars, 20 or 30 of them, take them out, dump them up at the mill, come back in and do it again in the same way. So pretty much it's just using gravity to get it from level to level. This bucket actually goes flying right by your face, and it's going to slingshot a bucket of muck into that ore car behind me. So if I got 22 tons of muck in front of me, I got to get that cleaned out, get it out so we can start drilling. All right? All right? We got the young man. All right, here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Pay attention, young man. Will tell us why we need that. Here we go. This is actually the
honey pot.
Exactly right. You almost ruined it for me. This is my favorite part of the tour. Sometimes I get Will Smith one in here, but you know, it's still good fun. They're still smiling. They still don't like it right now. So folks, this is actually the underground bathroom. 200 years ago, why would you bring these out, right? And leave them behind or crush them. So the ones that actually came out, there's people that would pay tens of thousands of dollars for this because they're so rare. I mean, I wouldn't collect an old crapper for 10 grand, but you know, anyways. And the other thing is, what kind of gas did that carbide light make? Acetylene gas. So we all know what kind of pain in the backside I am now. Just ask these two young ladies. I don't smoke, so I'm going to walk by here with a handful of carbide. I throw it in there. I go off and go to work. Well, the next guy's going to be over here doing his business, right? And that gas is building and building. Well, if he decides to have a cigarette to, you know, enjoy his whatever he's doing there, he strikes that up, drops that match in there. That's going to be the best bikini wax he's ever had in his life. We call that hot pants.
After our mine tour, we continued to explore the Cunningham area over the mountain from the mine. The area we went to had an abundance of fall foliage, some mining ruins, and a small lake. We still had plenty of time left to explore, so we headed up to the Cinnamon and Engineer Passes. Along the way, we were lucky to see a bull moose, cow moose, and 2 baby moose all together. Unfortunately, we ran low on time, and at almost the top of the road near a pass, a black pickup was stuck on the rough road. It had been abandoned, so we turned around and headed back down the mountain to town for dinner at the Pits Again barbecue. One thing was for sure, we were both hungry and tired after 8 hours on the go, and a hot shower in our bed looked very inviting. After our day of off-roading in the San Juan Mountains, we wanted to do something the next day that was fun, yet within walking distance of where we were staying. So our first excursion of the day was to hike up to the road to Christ of the Mind Shrine. It is a 12-ton, 16-foot statue of Jesus Christ sitting some 500 feet up the slope of Anvil Mountain north of town. We then walked back down the mountain and went to the San Juan County Historical Museum. This was probably the best museum we have ever toured. It was filled with artifacts related to mining in the area and interpretations of the local mining history. Also, the jail was extremely fascinating.
Don't give up on me, babe. Did you forget what you said? I'm the one that you want. Was it all in my head? Don't give up on me, babe. No, I fell into deep. Hope that you see.
Handlebars was our stop for lunch. It was a fun place to go, and the food was good. next morning after breakfast, we headed down to the grocery store to pick up a couple of items we needed before heading out on our next excursion or adventure.
Then it'll ask you to sign. Do you want a small bag?
No.
Okay.
They like attention.
Yep.
Goodbye, bye, pretty pups.
Where are you guys from?
Nevada.
Okay.
These are dogs?
The owners.
The others.
Yeah. It's my greeting committee every.
This excursion adventure was to hike to Kendall Mountain Ski Resort and hike on part of the Hard Rock 100 Trail. The trail was lovely through the woods, across creeks and across little bridges before coming down to a bridge so we could cross the river near where we turned to go up to Stony Pass and do the mine tour at Old Gold 100 Mine just a couple days earlier. From there, we were headed back into Silverton, having hiked approximately 5 or 6 miles.
Want me to go ahead?
Yeah, I had my hiking poles.
Ready to get your feet wet?
I'm going to.
We're going over there. We'll meet up with that other road here in just a little bit, but we're not going right down. No, that's what I was saying. We're going to go to the right.
Can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand? Now and take my hand. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the... with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand. Yeah, we only get one life, I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand.
We had to hurry to get back into town and get lunch at the Galena Mountain Cafe before they closed at 2:30. On our last full day in Silverton, we hiked up to the historical Hillside Cemetery and looked around. It was fascinating to walk around the cemetery that contains some 3,000 burials with more than 2,000 in unmarked graves and read some of the grave markers. Dynamite explosion. Our hike had been fun, but both of us were sure tired and happy to get back to Alma House for a hot bath and to rest. We stayed at Alma House, which was originally built in 1898 as a boarding house for miners who worked in the Silverton mining and gold industry. Sadly, the mining industry ended up going bust, but the historic Alma House was bought and carefully restored to its original glory. Now it operates as a bed and breakfast.
Just a little electric heater. We don't do central heat. So, and let's see. Oh, Wi-Fi. On the back here, on the top right, is right there, how to connect.
Okay.
But I'll warn you that Wi-Fi in this town is, so you're not going to get high movie speeds.
Albert is a real character who loves to spin a yarn about some hero, soil dove, or outlaw in Silverton's past. Since he is a writer, cowboy poet, or storyteller, the stories he tells are probably embellished somewhat, but his knowledge of the mining era and the history of Silverton give you a deep understanding of its past and the rugged individuals who lived and worked here. He gave us a signed book of his poetry.
Miniature horses. Why? That's it.
Delicious homemade goodies and hot drinks were in the hallway by our room before breakfast.
Summer squash, summer potatoes with a little sausage in there. Breakfast, that's got everything. Fruit, greens, veggies, cheese, blueberry, flapjacks this morning, and bacon.
It looks delicious.
You're going to enjoy it. It's a Navajo cake.
Ah, nice.
This morning with ham, cheddar, tomatoes. You have hash browns. You have a biscuit with pepper gravy. Your breakfast salad's got fruit and veggies and greens, and it is apple pecan flapjack.
Looks good. Looks really good.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
We enjoyed walking around Silverton and watching the trains come up from Durango before we headed back to Durango ourselves.
say you'll go. Don't make me wait.
We ate several times at Avalanche and really enjoyed the food there.
Hesitate. Let's make footprints in the sand. Let's make miracles.
All too soon, it was time to take the train back to Durango and once again stay a night in the Strater Hotel before heading home. We have done this trip in the past and it has always been delightful, just as this trip was. Who knows, we just might be back.
Blue is the sky, like the color of your eyes. From the start, say you'll stay. Come hold my hand. Let's find. Walk with me.
Yes.